silence to reflect on our ceremony and the events to come this afternoon. And bear in mind that this is all in connection with Africa Day, which is actually tomorrow, May 25th. But we normally would have done it then, but remember Monday is ordinarily a school day, so it would have been an issue having released for this auspicious occasion. So, with that said, please stand and have a moment of silence in recognition of all of those Pan-Africanists who would have been paved the way for us, all of your ancestors who would have paved the way for you, and in remembrance of all the work that we still have to do. Ashe, please be seated. I will now hand over to Dr. Derek Murray, who will do the introductions for the head table.
Thank you, Mabalozi Aline. You all know, well, we'll get straight to the heart of the matter. Today, we're going to avoid long speeches. On a Sunday evening, some of you might have been in church and heard sermons already. So we will go straight to the heart of the matter. To my farthest left is Mabalozi Cornelia Ali. She is the coordinator for the Mabalozi program. And I have to give thanks for all her hard work. She is the one who recalls everyone, who knows everyone by first and last name, by school, and she knows when they left the school and gone to another school, and she remembers their faces and so on. So she is, we rely heavily on her to make sure that the program works. To my immediate left is Sister Keturah Ba, elder in the Pan-African community, recognized and acknowledged activist in her own right. Today she's here in her capacity as the acting chair of the Task Force on Reparations. And as you know today, well, you may not have known because you were told that you were coming to hear a presentation by Tempu Nefertari, who is in New York and who's unable to make it. So we had to adjust the program. And we thought it extremely important that you hear about what's happening in the Pan-African community concerning reparations, which has been extremely topical in the last 2 years. So Sister Keturah Ba is the deputy chair of the Task Force on Reparations. She wears other hats as well. She is also an activist and a leader and elder in the Rastafari community. She's a consultant on gender issues and development issues, and a well-read researcher and activist. To my immediate right is Ian Marshall, Mabalozi Ian Marshall, an educator and teacher like yourself. And he has been a long-standing activist, Pan-Africanist, researcher, thinker, and intellectual in the Pan-African community, and is often on the battlefront fighting the hottest wars where most people are afraid to go. He'll be here to speak on reparations as well, and I'm certain that you'll have many questions for him. To my far right, if you don't know Reverend Buddy Larry, then you haven't been paying any attention at all to Pan-African issues. But Ilaria is well, his name is Aaron, and he goes by the name Buddy. Everybody calls him Buddy. And he is unrelenting and tireless activist for Pan-Africanism, against racism, against white supremacy. He's a member of the Task Force on Reparations, on the non-state reparations, what's it called? Non-state actors committee against reparations. So he's both on the government's committee and on the NGO committee in the battle for reparations and against racism, and extremely informed in terms of the history of white supremacy and the legacy of racism in the Black diaspora. I am Derek Murray, Deputy Director for the Commission for Pan-African Affairs, which is an odd thing because there isn't a director. Actually, there's not even a director's post. But I am the head of the Commission for Pan-African Affairs. And I should perhaps start by explaining to you what has happened in the last year with the Commission for Pan-African Affairs and the Mabalozi program. As you well know, the government of Barbados and the people of Barbados have had a torrid time for the last year in terms of the economy of the country. And government departments would have been severely affected because of the necessity to deal with the fiscal situation. And all of the departments would have been affected, including the Commission for Pan-African Affairs. And so we went from a staff of about 8 to 9 to the entire staff of the Commission for Pan-African Affairs is here today. I am 50% of the staff, and the other 50% was at the door when you came in. So we are tremendous complement of 2 in this battle. And our projects are many and varied and relatively large. So the Mabalozi program is one large project under the Commission for Pan-African Affairs. There is a serious program, the Social Identity Renewal and Integrated Upliftment Strategy, which is the community version of the Mabalozi program. And we advise the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we advise the Prime Minister's office, we are in almost everything in government, but still only 2 people. As a result, it was very difficult for us last year as we struggled to not only deal with the cutting staff, but also cutting programming resources and relocation from our previous offices. And of course, you know, we had the cancellation of the conference last year. And with all of the uncertainty, we thought it best to lay low for a while until things were settled and we could see exactly where every program was going. Along with that, we had to contend with the rumors that the organization was closed down, that the programs were scrapped, that nothing is going to happen again. All of those were rumors. What actually happened is that the Commission for Pan-African Affairs is now more intimately a part of the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Youth. And our main office our offices are at the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Youth. This is Haggett Hall in Sky Mall. But our projects, especially the Sirius and the Mabalozi program, are operated from the old Spirit Bond in town. This is opposite the wharf and close to immigration. And the Mabalozi program actually has a full office and resource center in development at the Spirit Bond, and anytime you return, you can go visit. That's where we plan to have all of your materials and your resources for you to complement what you're doing in the classrooms. We never relented on the program, though. We consistently sought to get additional resources for the your classrooms, what we call the crucibles of care, and you should be able to see and appreciate those resources in the next, and access those resources in the coming months. And of course, we have continued to collect books for you. The first Mabalozi would have had, of course, the first 2 years would have been lucky because not only were we economically more prosperous, there were also very few. And so they were able to benefit from a full complement of books and so on. Now we have to be more selective, but we still have books for you, and we still have resources for you. So today, let me thank you for taking your Sunday afternoon off to be with us and to participate in this seminar. And before I get into the meat of the seminar and the conversation on reparations, I'll ask Mabalozi Aline when she returns. I think she back to the other duty. When she returns to speak to the issue of the structure of why we changed the structure to a seminar structure as opposed to the conference we had before. So I'll give her all of 5 seconds before. I think she might deal with other Mabalozi that may be already. Now the seminar, even though we're here in the Hilton Hotel, I want you first of all to take a deep breath, to relax. Inhale, exhale, relax. Feel comfortable. I want you not to feel intimidated at all. And I want you to ask all of those questions that you had burning from before. And feel free to participate. We'll have discussions from the head table, but we want you to ask and engage in questions that you may have. And we thought that reparations was an important place to start because if you represent yourself as Afrocentric in the schools, inevitably somebody will ask you about the issue of reparations. So Mabalozi Aline is back, and I'll ask her to speak.